such a flattering angle. Hey everybody. This is more of a vlog than an unboxing, as you can tell, because I kind of can't do an unboxing while driving. It'd be kind of dangerous. But it is November, which is National Adoption Month. Adoption is very near and dear to my heart. I am a birth mom, which means that I have placed a child for adoption. I want to go a little bit into the backstory. I'll try to keep it short. Can't really guarantee that, but I'm going to try. So in 2017, about spring, summer-ish area, I found out that I was pregnant. And John and I were in financial straits at the time. So we knew that bringing a child into our household would not be a good idea. Sorry, I just had my weekly COVID test for work, so my nose kind of hurts. So we knew bringing a child into our home would not be a good idea, so we contemplated and fought with ourselves, not between the two of us, but with, ourselves, about placing the child for adoption. We knew it would be best for them. So we, probably about mid to late summer, we buckled down and started looking at potential parents. We looked at hundreds through, I think, 3 or 4 different adoption agencies. And none of them were clicking for us. We wanted to stay local. At the time, we were living just outside St. Louis, so we could do like Grant's Farm or the zoo, or we can do dinners, just get together and be able to see the child. And so we just started looking, and I found one potential parents that it's actually quite funny. Their profile picture had them and their beagle. Now, I love beagles. Beagles and pit bulls, they're my 2 favorite dogs. And John's sitting there, you're not looking at them just because they have a beagle. I'm like, well, fine. So we looked at more. I was so burnt out on looking at parents and couples that I'm like, you know what, forget it. I'm going to look at this couple that has the beagle, even if it's just to get more pictures of the beagle. And the adoption agency that they were through and that we ended up choosing, they have an about us or a message from us or a message to you. I don't remember the name. I'm going to paraphrase what was written to the best of my knowledge because it's been almost 3 years since I've read it. Everyone else that we had read always talked about the child and how, the child will be loved in a good school. And that's great. I'm not saying that, that's bad. That's actually wonderful. But for us, we were, I don't know, just something wasn't clicking with everybody else, but their message was to us. It wasn't about the child. Like I said, I'm going to paraphrase. It's been 3 years since I've read it. But it was, we know this is a difficult decision for you. Thank you for looking at us. We're praying for you to help you get through this. And with them, it just clicked. And no, before you asked, there were no more pictures of their beagle. But with them, it just clicked. So we looked at a few more, but we kept coming back to them. Every time we kept coming back to them. And we finally got a hold of the adoption agency and said, this is who we want. We were then told they're in talks with another birth mom. I can talk. So they are off the table. We were devastated. So the adoption agency sent over, I think, 50 more couples. We wanted to stay local. Out of the 50, only 3 were in the state of Missouri. So we looked at those 3, and none of them clicked. So then we started looking at other adoption agencies again. This is probably winter of 17. In January, I was told that, it was late January, early February of 18 that I was going to have to be induced. There were some medical issues, nothing major at all. I wasn't gaining weight. So they wanted to take, I call her Sweet Girl, and that is what I will refer to her throughout the entire video. So there were some concerns that Sweet Girl was going to be underweight. They predicted her weight was like 4'6", I think, 4 pounds, 6 ounces. So they wanted to take her, a little early. So I'm like, all right, that's fine. We contacted the adoption agency and told them that we were being induced early. And we were then proceeded to be told a few days before I went into labor that they were back on the table. The conversation that they were having with another birth mother fell through. So we jumped at the chance. We're like, them, end of story, them. And we had, I think it was like 2 days before I went to the hospital to get induced. They had asked if they could change her name. We're like, there's one part of the name that we are adamant about keeping, and that was John's mom's name. John's mom had passed away 2 years prior to me getting pregnant, and her passing was actually the reason that John and I reconnected after 19 years. We hadn't spoken, hadn't talked, nothing. So without his mama's passing, there would be no child. So we named her after his mother and my grandmother, 2 of the strongest women we had ever known in our lives. So they said, okay, we will put it as part of her middle name. And to the best of my knowledge, they have. When we went through, I'll get to that. So they changed her name, which we were okay. They kept his mother's name as part of her middle name. And now mind you, I'm like 2 days before I have to go into the hospital to give birth. I have yet to meet these people. So when I'm in the hospital room, I think John and I were there for about an hour. They come walking in, and they handed me these beautiful white tulips, and they were the sweetest people. They were so genuine and so loving and so caring. And me not being in the right mind frame at that point in time, not because of drugs, but because of what was going on, I really could not hold a conversation with them. I was I don't know how to explain it. I was so hurt and so distraught and so confused that I didn't want them to feel bad. I didn't want them to see me like that. I didn't want any negativity or negative emotion or negative memory to mar or to ruin such a joyous occasion. So they didn't really spend a lot of time in the room with us by my choice, and I know that was wrong in hindsight. So they were not supposed to be in the room with us when I delivered. Okay, well, the drug that they gave me, Pitocin or potassium, I don't remember whichever one it is, I don't remember, I think it's Pitocin, went into effect. I went into labor pretty quick. She was my third child. So the more kids you have, in my experience, the more times you go through labor, the quicker it is. They were standing at the foot of the bed. From what I remember, because I didn't want to look at them, from what I remember, Daddy was green. And Mom was just so happy. John kept going back and forth between the foot of the bed and the head of the bed, the foot of the bed, the head of the bed. When she was born, they laid her on my chest, and I started crying. John got a photo of her laying on my chest, and they picked her up, they cleaned her up, they put her in the incubator. I finally asked what her name was, and it's a beautiful name. I'm not gonna lie, it's a beautiful name. She reminds me of a Disney princess, but one of the newer ones. So they ended up, they kept her in the room with them, because I knew that if she stayed with us, I was gonna change my mind, and I couldn't do that to them. I couldn't, and I couldn't do it to her. She deserved so much better than what we were able to offer. So the next day, I could not bring myself to go to her room and see her and to hold her. I couldn't, because I knew I would change my mind. So spent all day in the hospital room. The next day was discharge day, and they brought in a photographer, and we got some photos of me, John, and her, and then the four of us, and then the three of them, and my adoption advocate came in, and it was time to sign the papers, saying that we, hand them guardianship, and we no longer have any sort of claim to her. So that was the hardest thing. Okay. That was the hardest thing. It took me 5 minutes to sign the very last paper. I was shaking and crying so bad. So for the next 2 weeks, I laid in bed. I didn't want to move. I didn't want to exist. I was so... The best words that I can describe is I was grieving. And so finally, John's like, hey babe, we need to go to Walmart. The dogs have no food. We got to get them food. Why don't you take a shower, put on some real clothes, and we'll go to Walmart. Ooh, I am so sorry. So I crawled out of bed. I just wanted to stay in my grief cocoon. I crawled out of bed, took a shower, put on some clothes, and we went to Walmart. And to get to the animal section, it is literally right across the aisle from the baby. And I'm still grieving. I'm still hurting. And I lost it in the middle of Walmart. I am bawling uncontrollably. John ended up having to grab my shoulders, pull me away, and shield me from the baby section. And, you know, we end up going back home. I get back in my pajamas. I get back in bed. And I just, uncontrollable. I am sobbing. And, so I think it was like a week after that, we got a phone call from our adoption counselor saying that it was time to go to court to sign over all rights. And I don't even know how to explain the utter pain I felt. So we go to court. She has to be there because she is the person in question. And I met Nana for the first time. I met Grandpa for the first time. And I met Uncle for the first time. We both did, sorry. And their family, their support system is amazing. Nana is she's just like them. She's so warm. She's so genuine. She's so caring. I got like a big hug from her. And she's telling me it's okay because I'm crying. And she's telling me it's okay. It's okay. This is fine. You're good. She's good. And what she meant by I was good, me personally, what I was good was because of the tears and the crying. So she's telling me it's okay to cry. It's okay. So we ended up signing over all rights, and that was that. So fast forward a little bit to the first visitation. She was just over a year old. So we meet in McDonald's. We were running late because there was an accident, so we got stuck in traffic. And I'm devastated because they said, nap time was normally about 11 o'clock and it was like 10. And I'm like, we're never going to make it. We're never going to make it. Well, we ended up making it, and I think we were there for about an hour or so. And to me, it seemed like as soon as we walked in and she heard our voices, she stopped, turned around, and smiled the biggest smile. Like she knew who we were. She recognized our voices. She may not have recognized us, but she recognized our voices. And I melted when I saw her. I didn't get a hug, I didn't get a kiss, I didn't get much of anything. I got no like physical interaction with her. But her little sister, fell asleep in my arms. And I mean, her little sister is adorable. But Sissy has nothing to do with this. So we ended up leaving. Sorry for the steering wheel. So we ended up leaving, and I lost it in the parking lot of McDonald's. And it was, and Nana gave me a hug, and I'm losing it. And I said, this is the hardest part. This part is the worst. And she's like, I know, it's okay. Go ahead and cry. And I think Nana even started crying, or at least tearing up. And so we're just, going through. I go day by day. I am on antidepressants because I have mental illness stemming from my previous marriage. But then I also have post-adoption grief. It is kind of like a PTSD, which I already had from my previous marriage. Depression, anxiety. It's just overwhelming dread is the best that I can describe. So I take an antidepressant for that. And I was seeing a counselor once a week. I am a part of a few birth mom support groups on Facebook. And I'm actually thinking about taking myself out of them. A lot of them cause triggers in me. Now, what I mean by that is there's a lot of things that I build up in my head, which is my own fault. It's no fault of anyone else's. It's mine. But I get, most days for me are good. I don't, I'm not in a lot of pain. But there are days to where I just want to roll up in a, grief cocoon and stay there. But I know that I have to get up. I have to face the day. I have to go to work. I have residents to take care of. So I go to work in a mentally bad place. And most of my coworkers know that when I am quiet and I am very withdrawn, that it's a bad mental health day. Otherwise, I'm very loud and laughing and, joking around and, singing, dancing, whatever. So, but with the support groups, they'll post like, look what, the AP sent me. AP stand for adoptive parents. I just got a message from my kid. Look at this artwork that my kid sent me. All of this. The APs wished me a happy birth mom's day and a happy Mother's Day. And in the back of my mind, it triggers. And then I go through a whirlwind. It's a cyclone of never-ending emotions. I will go through anger and grief and sadness and despair. I will go through everything except for happiness. And it's me. It's no one else. It's me. I understand this. But I'm just sitting there going, I don't have anything. I have a few photos. I have photos. I have a few videos. But I don't have anything that I can actually hold in my hands. And then the anger will hit. And I get mad at them for, I was nothing but an incubator for them. And then I get mad at myself for being mad at them because it's not their fault. And then, I don't know, it's just so hard to express. But I know I have to express it because expressing it helps me heal. Keeping it all internal, it kills me. So I'll get mad at them, and then I'll get mad at myself for being mad at them, and then I feel guilty for being mad at them, and then I get into despair and grief because everything all of her firsts. I missed her first word, her first step. I'll miss her first day of school. I'll miss everything, her first tooth. I missed everything. And I think that is the hardest thing for me. It's because I have 2 children that I got to witness all of it, and it was magical. And I didn't get any of that with her. I still have stuff from the hospital and drawings and paintings and artwork from my kids, from my 2 older kids when they were little. And I can grab them and I can hold them and I can be transported back to that time when they gave it to me. And I don't have that with her. And I think that's the part that sucks the most. Sorry, there's an ambulance. And, woo, hi. Phone fell. Sorry. And, so there's really nothing that there's nothing I can do. I understand this. I understand that nothing that is going on in my head has to do with anyone other than me. I understand this. I know this. There's nothing that I can do to try to place blame, because there is no blame to place. It's all mental. So we were supposed to do our visitation. We get, yearly visitations, and the pandemic hit. And I have not seen, John and I have not seen our daughter since March of 19. It's almost 2 years. Now I understand it's a pandemic. I'm not going to risk anyone's health, anyone's safety, anyone's life just because I want to see my daughter. So I'm not pushing that issue. I'm not. Because I would rather the family stay safe, the family stay healthy. I don't want anything to happen to anybody. So I'm not, once the pandemic hopefully dies down a little bit, if people would just wash their hands, stay home when you're sick, wear a mask, quit thinking that just because the election is over, the pandemic is over too. Masks work. I'm sorry if you're an anti-masker. I am a masker. I guess that's what we can call it. I'm a pro-masker because of the line that I work in. I work in healthcare. I see how masks protect. So until this pandemic dies down a little bit, I'm not going to push the issue. John's not going to push the issue. So when I am able to see her again, in my head, I build stories, I build scenarios, I build up everything. It's what I've always done. And then, sorry, son. And then I build myself up. I build the situation up. And when it doesn't go the way that I planned it, then I'm devastated. So I have, when the first meeting was supposed to happen, when the first visitation was supposed to happen, I built it up in my head. Meet at a park. She would, yell my name and come running towards me, and I get a great big, hug. And, again, with the triggers, Okay. So I will go to the store. Again, sorry, steering wheel. I will go to the store and I will buy her items like clothing or stuffed animals or books. I will send them. And when I'm in my whirlwind of emotion and I'm hitting anger, I am in the back of my head, or actually it's in the front of my head because it's a predominant thought that happens. She's never even seen them. She's, she'll never, they don't put those clothes on her. She never gets those stuffed animals because I don't know any better. And me not knowing any better, that might be a good thing. It might be a really good thing. But like I said, when I hit the whirlwind, I go through every emotion. And if I go to Walmart when I'm in a down mood, I will look in the baby clothes. She's not even a baby. She's almost 3. And it'll be, why bother? Why bother buying her anything? She's never going to get them. She's never going to see them. But then there are times where it's, I don't like, oh, I think she'd love this. I think, this would be really cute for her. And I'll buy it. Like I went and bought an entire Minnie Mouse box for her because one photo that I was sent had her holding a Minnie Mouse. And she was dressed in a Snow White dress, I think, like a costume, like a dress-up costume. And it melted my heart because she had a Minnie Mouse, and Minnie Mouse means so much to me because of my dad. And just that, like, it melted my heart. Oh, hi. All right. I'm gonna have to do a lot of editing or just leave it in because it's quite funny where I have my phone situated because it works. But I am home now. I pretty much said everything that I needed to say and get everything off my chest that needed to get off my chest. So be good, wash your hands, sanitize, wear a mask, and I will see you all on the flip side. Love you. Oh, hi, that's love you. Other one was rock on. Rock on too. All right, bye guys.